Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back here to CarolinaPreps.com. Joined this morning by the head football coach at West Stokes High School, Coach Trent Lowman. Coach, appreciate you getting on and talking a little football with me today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. I guess before maybe we dig into your outlook of your spring season and maybe your perspective of what you think the season's going to look like, I was taking a look at the realignment that was just released this past week by the NCHSAA. And I got to say, you guys at West Stokes probably have to really like the realignment. You kind of get out of that conference with, Reidsville and some of those other guys and bring in what I think to be some more traditional rivalries. I think it's a win on the field, but also probably at the gate as well.
Yeah, definitely. We pick up East Surrey and Mount Airy in conference, and you look at the records and the success those programs have had. The competition is high, and they return a lot of good players. North Surrey's been somewhat of a rivalry and been very good the last few years, and to have those three in league, that's going to be very challenging. And like you said, the gate part. I mean, the travel families are going to be able to get off work and grab something to eat and still make it to the games and not have to rush. And, that's going to be a huge thing for our area, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the more underestimated or underappreciated things with realignments and conferences sometimes is that ability for a mom and dad to get off of work and be able to get to the games. In the Charlotte area, the Raleigh area, some of the bigger metropolitan areas, you see these crowds that don't show up till halftime sometimes because they got to go clear across town. And I know, like for Charlotte, for example, it can take an hour to get from one side of the town to the other, and you do that in 5-6 o'clock hour in the evening, and it can be tough.
Right, absolutely.
Another thing I was looking at is just kind of the rivalry aspect, and you already touched on this, but I was thinking back to your career. I feel like you've been really blessed. You came up at Bandy's, and then of course obviously your time at East Surrey and now at West Stokes. You've been in some programs to where communities and the rivalries and the communities and the schools, they just care about going to the games, unlike some of the big cities. I've been to some of the games even at West Stokes, and I'm not even talking football. I've been to some baseball and some basketball games there. And you can just tell it's a community environment. And that's got to be a fun thing, not only to grow up in, which I know you did at Mandy's, but also just to coach at a community where it matters to them.
It does, and it is fun. And to me, because I came up in it, that's how it's supposed to be to me. And if you're not getting yelled at from the stands, and to me, you're not in a community that cares enough about their program to an extent. And that's just part of it. It comes with the job. And, people come out, they want to watch the boys play and or girls and in their sports, and they're invested in it. And it's an emotional and a passionate thing. But that's what makes it special in these small communities, in my opinion. And, yeah, I think I've been very blessed with some tradition-rich programs.
Well, speaking about a program in which they care about, they had a lot to cheer for last year with your first season here at West Stokes. You guys went 10-3, just came out of the gate hot. I mean, you had that close, emotional loss to a really strong Randleman team, and then you just started cranking out win after win after win, and even gave Reidsville all they could handle in this with that high scoring affair, and lost in a competitive game to Monroe, who ended up winning the state championship. So there's definitely no shame in that. You guys had a tremendous year. I know you're going to be really talented coming back, but probably young in some spots too. But what's your outlook coming up on the spring season as you kind of prepare some of these young men and then kind of moving into the football season in August?
There's a lot of question marks, but there's a lot of excitement too. We had 24 seniors on last year's team, and that's a lot. That may be the most I've ever had. And those 24 seniors, I was their fourth play caller and their third head coach in their career. So it said a lot for them, but them going through that created a bond in them that was hard to beat those guys, and they were determined with that. They did a great job of doing everything that was asked and finding a way to win. And to that, losing that many, there was a lot of personality. It was big personality in that class, and we're going to have some young guys that bring some personality and some leadership and just some of that don't flinch mentality that no matter what happens, we're going to find a way to make the best of it and hopefully find a way to win in the process. So I'm very excited with what's coming back, and they're going to have to learn fast. It's fun to have. We'll have a full summer and off season and they've had a year under their belt of what we like to do and the expectations that we'll carry, and to see how that hopefully flourishes this year, or where we need to continue to work to get better as we go.
Right. Now, you traditionally you have thrown the ball around the last 2 years. You've had some tremendous quarterbacks and play callers and just a lot of athletes around. So I know you've had a lot of fun and scored a lot of points. When you have an influx of some fresh faces coming in, maybe some JV guys and some young men that didn't get to see the field quite as much. How important is this spring season to get out there and just kind of work on things? There's no fans around. Sometimes you get in that 7-on-7 atmosphere, but just an opportunity to put some balls in the air and just kind of make some mistakes and it not matter, but be able to coach those mistakes up and learn from them and keep getting better. So when August does arrive, you have that opportunity to really install some good things and kind of get your rhythm going.
Right. It is. And surprisingly, and it's always surprising when people hear me for the first time, I probably do the least amount of spring as any coach you'll find. And usually, and it's because the programs I've been in, our quarterbacks are pitchers in the baseball program and been a part of strong baseball programs. And I want them to focus on that, and I want them to win in that. We do very little spring, surprisingly. But we will get together occasionally before school or occasionally if the weather's nice and just throw the ball around for those bonds, for that chemistry that comes. And then we try to hammer it pretty hard in the summer. But that is exactly what you said, of being able to make a mistake and it, quote unquote, not matter. I would rather have to pull the reins back on a quarterback because his confidence is so high than convince him, to take those chances. So I like them. We might throw 10 interceptions in a 7-on-7, but I want them to see those throws, and then we'll coach on that, and we'll go from there.
Who's your quarterback going to be this year? Or do you not know yet?
We don't know yet. We return Devin Gasly was a sophomore for us that we were looking at quarterback last year, and he broke his wrist early. So he ended up wearing a cast all year and playing outside linebacker and strong safety and did a great job. Devin's a 6'3", 195-pound, will be junior. Cole Knox was our JV quarterback as a freshman. Those two I would say, are in a head-to-head battle. And I love having two quarterbacks. That's one thing I was blessed with, at East. When you have a second quarterback, you can do a whole lot more with your first quarterback. So I like having a two-headed monster there. And, I say the race is up to those two, and I'm fully confident in either and both. And I could see games where both play quarterback substantially.
All right. Again, with Coach Trent Lowman, West Stokes, I'm going to leave you with this. You're the son of a legendary coach. You had a great playing career in your own right, played in the Shrine Bowl, so you know what big-time football is like. But how much of your father's coaching do you carry with you? You can't grow up in a program and look up to a legend coach like him and not carry some of that with him. How much of Coach Randy Lowman's and Coach Trent Lowman and what you do from day to day?
It's one of those, as you get older, you're supposed to get wiser. And the more years I get into it, the more I gravitate to who my dad was as a coach. When I was younger, I was a lot more fiery, a lot more intense than my father's coaching style. And the older I get, the more, like I said, the more I gravitate to him. And I hopefully that's the wisdom because he was maybe the best that I've seen. And
Sure.
As I get more white hair, I get more like him. And the biggest thing I think as I get older is remembering this is kids and this is a game and it's supposed to be fun. And when we take those elements out of it, that's not what we're trying to accomplish. And if we can work on doing the right things in all aspects of our lives and keep it fun, then the wins will take care of themselves.
Wow. Some wise words right there. And you're right. I mean, we have to realize this and kind of ground ourselves at times that these are just young men and kids out there still having fun and playing a game, and allow them to do so. So without us adults getting in the way sometimes.
Exactly. And I think the more that we do get in the way, the worse the game gets. And
I agree. I totally agree with you right there. Again, Coach Trent Lowman, I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me this morning, talking some football here on Carolina Preps. We'll come up and visit you anytime. So just give us a call. But I appreciate your hospitality and your time this morning.
Thanks, Chris. Very, very appreciative to be a part of it.